UFC legend Randy Couture, a name synonymous with grit, discipline, and sheer willpower, was recently involved in a harrowing accident that has shaken both the combat sports and motorsports communities. The 62-year-old icon was airlifted to a specialized burn center after a devastating crash during what should have been a routine practice run at a racetrack in Kansas City. The incident occurred while Couture was preparing for what many expected to be a bold and exciting new chapter in his career. Known for pushing limits and chasing challenges, he was slated to make his debut in the National Hot Rod Association's highly competitive Pro Mod racing division. But what began as a high-adrenaline training session turned into a nightmare that left him with serious injuries, including first- and second-degree burns, trauma wounds, and dangerous smoke inhalation. For fans who followed Randy Couture through the years, this shocking news feels like a gut punch. He is not just another sports figure. He's a symbol of resilience, a real-life warrior whose name is etched into UFC's most storied history. Seeing him in a hospital bed battling yet another fight, this time for his recovery rather than a title, evokes a deep emotional response from supporters around the world. Those who know his journey know he's no stranger to adversity, but this incident casts a shadow over what was supposed to be an exciting comeback, albeit in a different sport. Crash, according to sources close to TMZ Sports, occurred during practice preparations for an upcoming race. Couture was behind the wheel, testing his skills in a car that was specially designed for the Fast and Furious Pro Mod division. These vehicles are not your typical muscle cars. They're finely tuned, custom-built machines that operate at blistering speeds, demanding utmost precision and lightning-fast reflexes. A single error in judgment, mechanical malfunction, or environmental factor can lead to disastrous consequences. And unfortunately, in Couture's case, something went tragically wrong. The vehicle he was driving was completely wrecked during the incident. Details remain scarce about the exact cause of the crash, whether it was a mechanical failure, a miscalculation, or something else entirely, but the aftermath was clear. Randy Couture was in serious need of medical attention. Emergency responders on the scene acted quickly and decisively. Recognizing the severity of the burns and the potential complications from smoke inhalation, they made the call to airlift him directly to a nearby burn center. This immediate intervention may have played a crucial role in stabilizing his condition and preventing further deterioration. Burn injuries, especially those involving the respiratory system due to smoke inhalation, can be life-threatening and require prompt, specialized care. And in this case, the fast reaction of the team on the ground may very well have saved his life. As of the latest updates, Couture remains under medical supervision, continuing to recover from his injuries. While he is expected to pull through, it's still a long and potentially grueling road ahead. Recovery from burns involves not only physical healing but also emotional and psychological resilience. There are challenges in pain management, skin grafting, rehabilitation, and even coping with trauma that comes from being thrust so suddenly into a life-threatening situation. But if there's one man who embodies the word fighter, it's Randy Couture. This wasn't just any side project for Couture. For months leading up to the crash, he had been deeply invested in transitioning into the NHRA racing world, treating it not as a hobby but as a serious competitive endeavor. The announcement of his Pro Mod program through Skag Racing had electrified fans from both the MMA and racing spheres. Felt like the merging of two worlds, combat and combustion, grit and grease, and it was spearheaded by a man who knew how to win in both realms. He had been going through the rigorous licensing process required by the NHRA, a testament to his seriousness and commitment to this new venture. He wasn't just showing up for publicity. He was doing the hard work, learning the craft, training with professionals, and putting himself in the position to compete at a high level even at age 62. Couture spoke passionately about what this opportunity meant to him. In his own words, he described the shift into motorsports as a new way to tickle that competitive spirit that I've had most of my life. It was never about fading into retirement for him. He sought new battlefields, new frontiers where he could test his limits. And motorsports offered a challenge worthy of his tenacity. He explained that he planned to bring everything he had learned as a wrestler and mixed martial artist into this new space. Discipline, mental toughness, focus under pressure, the ability to remain calm amidst chaos. His philosophy was simple. The arena may change, but the spirit of a warrior remains the same. That very spirit is what helped him rise to legendary status in the UFC. Couture wasn't just a champion. He was a pioneer. One of the first breakout stars in UFC history, he helped bring legitimacy and mass appeal to the sport during its formative years. He wasn't the flashiest. He didn't always have the knockout power that other fighters flaunted. But what he had was a mastery of the fundamentals, an iron will, and an ability to adapt. He was a wrestler at heart, but he evolved, he learned, and he dominated. Over the span of his illustrious career, he won 6 championships and became one of the first fighters to hold titles in 2 different weight classes. His battles with legends like Chuck Liddell, Tito Ortiz, and Vitor Belfort are etched into the DNA of UFC history. Outside the octagon, Couture continued to prove that he was more than just a fighter. He was an actor, a military veteran, a commentator, and now, until this tragic turn, a budding race car driver. His post-UFC career has been nothing short of inspirational. Whether it was appearing in Hollywood action films like The Expendables or working on veteran-related charitable causes, Couture found ways to stay active, relevant, and impactful. His drive never faded. His competitive fire never dulled. That's why the accident hits so hard, because it feels like an abrupt pause on a life lived with such relentless forward motion. The news of the accident spread quickly across social media, with fans, fellow fighters, and even figures from the racing world sending well wishes and prayers for his recovery. Dana White, the UFC president, called Couture a true warrior and said he had no doubt that he would battle through this like he had with every other obstacle in his life. Former UFC champions and contemporaries like Georges St-Pierre, Daniel Cormier, and others also chimed in with messages of support, citing Couture as a role model and an inspiration. Even current racing professionals acknowledged the crash and voiced admiration for Couture's bravery in taking on such a challenging transition at his age. And that's a big part of the story. It's not just that he crashed, it's that he crashed while chasing something new, something different. Most athletes, especially those in their 60s, are either retired, resting on their laurels, or occasionally making media appearances to relive the glory days. Couture isn't like that. He was still putting himself out there, taking risks, learning, failing, improving. That's the essence of what makes him such a beloved figure. He never stopped growing. And now, even as he lies in a hospital room, hooked to monitors and bandages covering his skin, that same growth mindset, that same unbreakable resolve is still there. The story of Randy Couture is not just one of success, it's one of longevity, resilience, and reinvention. From the wrestling mats of Oklahoma State to the battlefields of the Army, from the octagon to the silver screen, and finally to the high-octane tracks of NHRA racing, Couture has always embodied the spirit of a warrior. He has fallen before, and each time he has risen stronger, wiser, and more determined. This accident, while severe, is just another chapter in that legacy. His family, friends, and management team have asked for privacy during this difficult time, but they've also expressed deep gratitude for the outpouring of love and concern. They believe, as many do, that Randy will beat this, that he will heal, that he will walk again, race again, and perhaps even inspire a whole new generation with how he handles this latest trial. 'Cause that's what Couture does. He inspires. He leads. He fights.